Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Gundam Build Breaker. And today we are going over this lovely thing that I've created. And as you can see, yep, it's that time. It's time to go over the ridiculousness that is twin atomic bazookas. So, this is what I've affectionately called the Atomex Gundam. And so, briefly going over the parts that we have on here, we have a Stark Jigen head, the Stargazer Gundam body, the Gundam Tryon 3 left and right arm, the Stargazer Gundam legs, the Stargazer Gundam backpack, and then as you can see, Atomic Bazooka in our right hand, Atomic Bazooka in the left hand, rocking more melee in our fist. For our shield, we have the, of course, funny Atomic Bazooka radiator shield. I have slapped even more tri-blades onto it because tri-blades are wonderful. We have a nice little mix of skills here, even though only some of them are going to be used. Lightning stimulant. I have soft chest touch on here. It's not really pertinent because it doesn't really get used anyway. And then here is where the important things are. So, I have gotten some new parts on here, so I've adapted up my ability cartridges. So this one's mostly going to be the HP, and the little bit of reaction performance is nice. This is, of course, lowering our gauge cost, even more gauge cost reduction, then more gauge cost reduction, and a little bit of recovery speed, because the core way this thing works is you want your gauge cost pretty well as low as you can get it. However, I have this specifically because of the attack power in shooting mode. And what that does, as you can see, it gives me 14% more damage while in shooting mode. And shooting mode itself already gives you a 14% boost in your damage. So as a very quick demonstration of what I mean, we'll go in here into the little test dummy so we can observe what I'm talking about. So if I just shoot him here right now, you can see it does 71664. However, if I go into shooting mode, oh boy, there goes the controller being dumb. Come on, stand up, please. Alright, now if we're in shooting mode, you can see, now it does 93972, which, by easy math, is more damage. And so, yes, this thing quite literally revolves around making use of the shooting mode and twin atomic bazookas to just go around and blast waves away. And yeah, that's what it does. I actually took this onto a survival mission while I was building it and testing it and whatnot, and I got a personal best on the clear time, which I thought was really funny. So, let's see. Just go over here, make sure that it is not a boss rush, because that would not be a good example to go off of, and go ahead and slap a booster on and deploy to the mission. Now, so I normally play on controller, but for this, I actually play on mouse and keyboard because my controller is giving me issues at the moment, and it's a little bit easier to aim these with mouse and keyboard. And so, the way I say to use shooting mode is to go into this targeting system where you do it like this, go into shooting mode, and then just start blasting robots. You can see a guy over here hiding. Shoot him. And now, despite the atomic bazookas, in fact, having a ridiculous area of coverage with their shots, it is still better if you can go and actually hit one of the targets with it. Because you do get some direct damage when you shoot someone with it. As much as fun as it is to just sit there and blow everything up, you are better off getting direct shots on. And true to every other atomic bazooka build on the internet, it wrecks face. Something else is also kind of funny about shooting mode is that you can... it's a little bit hard if you try to use your things like this, because you have to make sure that you get that target on them. But otherwise, you know, like you say, you just keep target on them, you keep shooting, they die. It's fine. Can't be that bad. That's another funny thing you can do is, like, if you just get up here at max height, you can just sit here and float, shoot down on them. So you still have to keep an eye on your ammo bar, but it's nowhere near as pertinent as if you were just to be normally shooting these things without any sort of cost reduction at all. Because, believe it or not, if you were to not have your cost reduction down, it consumes quite a lot of your ammo. Well, that wasn't helpful, now was it? That's another thing you have to, like, one of the only other things you have to worry about is whether or not things are in their iframe get up time period, because they are still, obviously still immune if you shoot them during that time period. Oh boy. There we go. And yes, technically you can also just dual fire the atomic bazookas, but it's not necessarily always needed to. And if you're doing that, then you are risking, you know, shooting more than you need to. And then if you get in situations like this where you just have one target left, you can just use the missiles here, because they actually do more damage per cost. And so, that's always fun. But again, standard problem with all atomic bazooka builds, you can't really see what you're doing much.
Strong enemy incoming! Watch out!
And obviously, with the same issue that all new type missions, or new type difficulty missions have, is that you get to where enemies have more health, and so it does less damage than what it actually claims to do in the testing mode. So that's obviously always something you have to keep into account when you're building things. You have to know that it is going to do less damage than what you're showing in training mode, by quite a lot less, actually. But yeah, like, you could still make use of this in the regular mode. Like, you don't have to be in shooting mode. It's just to be the most effective with the way I designed this particular one, you need to be in shooting mode. Alright, you know what? Hello? Oh, right, there we go. Shift. So that's the other problem that you can run into, is if you goof up like me and run out of ammo, it does take quite a while for things to go and be able to be shot again. Again, recovery speed very low with this. Though to be fair, when you can do this kind of damage, it makes sense for it to be low. I feel like I'm not displaying this the best right now, but again, out of practice and my controller is acting up on me because I was doing this on controller when I first did it. However, circumstances have it to where life is contrary, wouldn't you know it. But where are you aiming? But anyway, so, little rocky, mostly because of my own lack of experience using mouse and keyboard. But you can see, it works. It works well. It works especially well in the survival modes because up until wave, like, I don't know, just say 23-ish, I think is where I noticed it. Things are more or less just getting on screen, you can shoot them, and the wave's gone. So it's very good for farming, which obviously everyone already knows because everyone and their mother has made a video about how silly twin atomic bazookas is. And so, you know, I'm a little bit behind on the whole, look how broken this thing is, but at the same time, everyone else had already made a thing about it, and so I didn't really feel like there was a huge need to, but when I saw how funny the whole shooting mode assisting the damage was, I'm like, well, now I kind of have to. Anyway, so to actually go over it all completely. So, with the head, it is just your standard head. We get HP, reaction time, recovery, parts quality, weight engage performance, etc., etc. Standard head the standard way I build a head. Body, same thing. Break combo, I want to keep up, that way so that way you can keep your parts farming up even higher. Thruster gauge down, hit combo, HP capacity, item quality, same thing. I never got the right arm built. Interesting. I don't know how I managed that. Well, further evidence, you can make it even better. Anyway, same thing. HP, recovery, weight gauge. Oops, wrong button. More item quality, etc., etc. Stargazer Gundam on the legs. HP, movement speed, weight gauge, parts loss. Backpack. HP, movement speed, more break combo, more item quality. Now, here's where a lot of this is actually coming from. So, gauge capacity up. The attack missiles OP, because that is increasing the damage of our tri-blades. Attack power of left bazooka. I basically made this one about attacking power, and the other one has a different purpose. So, attack power, long range EX, attack power of the right bazooka. Again, not fully upgraded, so you can make them even better. Now then, left bazooka. Attack power on parts lost is very nice. Attack power of the left bazooka, again, very nice. More EX gauge whenever parts lost is very important, because that way you can just shoot one, and one of the ways where it has all the little dudes, you just dang near instantly get it filled back up. Gauge cost down, more attack power, more EX gauge, etc., etc. Melee is the same one I've shown before. So, all that. Now the shield is kind of just your standard shield. You got lots of gauge related things. Sorry, lots of long range gauge related things. That is almost hard to say. I did go ahead and put things to increase my defense because of basically it's just what happened to be there. And shields don't really matter a whole lot. I mostly use shields for the gauge capacity. Tri-blades, you already know. Tri-blades are silly and broken. No, I never made use of these because I didn't have a reason to. Obviously, the Atomic Bazooka Warhead and the shield is the main thing we're using. We're using the Hypertrance from the Stargazer itself, and then the funnel missiles from the Zai Gundam. I really like these because they are easily some of the best damage for single target that you can have for their gauge cost, and they don't replace the legs that you have. So these are obviously off the Zai Gundam, But I really like them because you don't have to worry about them suddenly swapping out into the giant Dorito legs, and that's very nice. Standard way I run tri-blades, got 2 on each button, so you're running all 8. And as you can see, this has the armored booster, but I never made use of it. And we already went over our ability cartridges. So, that is, in fact, everything that you can mostly go over. Now, I technically made a different version of this that is slightly more balanced, per se, and the only difference of it is that instead of running twin bazookas, I also had on a 180mm gun. Just to kind of sort of keep it, quote, more honest, and it's not ridiculously broken. But, yeah, so it was one of those deals where it's like, if you could put the two sort of best quote unquote best weapons on a build, what would it do? And because everyone keeps talking about how the 180 can like guarantee a stagger, and that is very true, it can, and it's very nice to do so. But at the end of the day, I'm like, but what if twin bazookas? And it just struck me as more funny, and especially when I took the shooting mode thing, I'm like, yeah, we're gonna do that. And so there is 2 variations of it, but that's literally the only difference, that this one has 180 on it. And so the different specs you'd put on there for, the 180 related skills and whatnot. So, anywho, that is in fact the video. So, thank you all for watching up to this point. If you liked it, be sure to let me know. Any questions or comments, be sure to leave them. If you really like it, you can subscribe. That'd be very cool. And until that next one, I'll see you all again in the next one. Bye-bye.